We started Storyteller Promotions in 2011. My background was 20 years of hospitality with Marriott, doing events and sales. Mike's background was Marine Police corporate security. So we knew we wanted to do something together. Wasn't really sure what. We came across the promo world kind of by accident. And we thought, this might be a fun thing to do that we could do on the weekends and go to fairs and blah, 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 make a little bit of cash, making coffee cups and t-shirts. Our two sons were with us at the time. Our youngest was 16, and we were lucky. He's a natural graphic designer, works for a big corporate firm now doing that. And our oldest is an anal logistic fanatic. So he took over decorations and logistics for us. We built the business part-time. We were both working full-time jobs. Within a year and a half, all four of us were working full-time in the business. Just like took off like crazy via networking, our associations. A couple years down the road, the boys are like, this they're doing their own things now, and it two of us. So we were based out of Houston, worked out of the house a solid 10 years, and that was when we said, we could do the same thing in an office. Moved into the truck and fifth wheel. Still doing what we're doing. Again, as long as I have internet, I'm there. So in general, it's promotional products. Anything you put your logo on, apparel, awards. Apparel and awards seem to be our top products that we don't focus on them. It just, that natural niche that we fall into. We do have our heat presses with us so that we can do sublimation and full color transfers, things like that on the road. What we have been kind of not pushing towards or focusing on, but trying to think what makes us a little bit unique is that the 4 imprints of the world, right? The custom inks, they're all over the website. Great prices, good products, not going to knock them until something happens, right? We like to take the concierge approach to people's brands. Our name, Storyteller Promotions, we created that with the thought that there's a story behind your brand, and let's try to find that product that works. Unless you're Starbucks, that it might not, but there's 3 million products out there. So let's see if there's something a little bit more unique that we can work with you on. What we've gotten into the past couple of years, we've been playing around with this for 10 years, and the technology to me was just clunky and not feasible for clients, is the online stores. So now we have the technology to go out, and we've got 4 or 5 of them running right now for different reasons. One of them is an employee uniform program. Get all the pre-approved apparel, the logos approved, the placements approved. So now the employees can go on, click, order, and it takes all that heat and pressure off of either HR or the office manager on that. Another example of one that we're doing is a t-shirt order for a communications company in Houston. They have about 200 employees, and every year they send out the message, hey, order your t-shirts and hoodies today. The HR manager was gathering emails from every employee, putting it in a spreadsheet. I'm then creating an order, sending it back for her to review. We're mass producing them, and now then she's got to go back and try to distribute them all, and then go back and deduct payroll deduction for every person. It was a massive nightmare for everybody involved. So we created a store. The employees are going on there, click, order, paying it themselves anyway. And I can pull a report at the end of the day and go, hey, here's who ordered what. We'll still mass produce, mass ship, save on shipping, and she can distribute with everybody's name on it right there. So we're really working with some of our, they don't even have to be large clients. The landscaping company for the uniform is not a huge company, but it's just putting that peace of mind and that ease and taking that, what's your pain point, trying to solve that pain point. And that's the burden and the hassle of doing the ordering and the process and trying to keep up with it all. Now they don't even touch it. I run the reports at the end of the month, send it to them. Hey, here's what's been ordered and here's who's ordered what. So we're really pushing those out, and for the holiday season, it works great. Any company can set it up either for their employees or their clients. Hey, here's a coupon code, go shop. And they don't even need to know how much it costs, right? So that's kind of what we're doing. Just hold on. The what? Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I got Mike's feeding me information. The other thing, one of the redemption stores that we've set up is the years of service for employees. So at 1 year, you have the option to go out and purchase this. At 5 years, 10 years, 15 years for the companies that offer that. That you don't want to store, 25 golden clocks people, and they may not even want a clock. So here's a redemption code. Again, the employee doesn't even know the value of it, but we can set those preset values, preset. And again, with technology from the IT side plus the decoration side, we're able to offer more and more one-offs where they don't have to store, 72 500 cups. You can go on and order one now and get it produced and gone. So that was fast in a nutshell. What do we got?
It's good.
I love the store idea though, because you're really like, you're putting your name out there, right? And you're still doing some of the things that you love, still making the products, right? And helping people with their brands. But you're also, you've now combined a second pain point to help the business owner get their business running more efficiently, right? And so you're like doing double duty there, but it's all surrounding the same products. So that's, I think that's what I love to see with other business owners is like, how are you solving multiple problems, but around one idea, right? And you guys have really done that. And that's awesome. I actually love the years of service, that redemption thing too, because I know companies are like trying to be nice and like sending you, like things for, but like sometimes there's only so many things that you want. Like you don't want another like paper holder, right? Like you don't, it's a nice thought, like, but sometimes to have the option of like, okay, here's your option of things, like pick a couple of things, you're more likely then to do it because you're going to use it in your, it's bringing more value to your life. It's not,
it's going to be more, it's going to be more meaningful because you were involved in it. I mean, in the government, they send you a silly ass little pin that you can't do anything with. It literally, I've got a box full of them. And so what? And half the time it's late,
right.
If somebody remembers and they get triggered, I'm an anti-plaque person for myself. I'm like when I was in the hotel and I had an office, of course, my plaques and my awards of service were always displayed because we were kind of obligated. And when I left there, I had this box of awards and plaques, and I'm like, what do I do with them? And it took me probably 3 years before I finally just threw them away. And now, because I'm like, I'm in my own house. This doesn't impress anybody. I'm working out of my home. Who gives a shit, that I made my goals 5 years, in a row. Nobody cares about that.
Right.
My kids
I
certainly
love me
didn't.
box.
I got a pile of them too.
And it was like, what do you do with them? So I try even
it's like,
when
my most memorable plaque is my credentials from and badge from Army CID when I retired. It's
Yeah.
in a box.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would love to put it up someplace, but then where? Uh,
I'm
And
sure
now we're in limited
it's
wall
somewhere.
space, right?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Even when
know,
we're talking to other companies and actually events about awards, we've done barbecue cook-offs, and instead of a trophy or award, we did 3 different sizes of laser etched cutting boards or barbecue,
Mhm.
tools and
oh
sets.
yeah. See, I would use that.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it's like I'm
And
not
every time you pull it out and
anti-awards,
you
but
use it, you think about, you see, oh yeah, I won this thing, or I earned
the
this, or
pride
whatever,
you
It's because
get,
we're
you
as
guys,
know.
opposed to something in a box in a storage shed right now.
right?
Yeah. So we just try to find those unique little items that is just more meaningful. One of the golf tournaments we do every year, they do the 30-ounce stainless tumblers, with the golf tournament logo on it.
Yep.
And then the second place gets the smaller ones. They're going to use them, they're going to carry it. They're not going to put that
I mean, like
crystal
this
award.
beast.
Exactly. Yep, you got it. So we try to get a little bit creative and try to be a little bit different and be solution oriented rather than just, oh, you need 10,000 pins? Okay. Nobody needs those either.
Now, what are you
Right.
gonna do? Put them on your suit coat so you look like a Mexican general?
Mhm.
We
And
have a
they're
thing in
heavy.
Taekwondo where, the people of higher rank wear these blue suit coats, and some of them put all their little pins for their top 10 qualifications in the world. And one of my good friends, he literally looks like a Mexican general because the whole left side of his coat is covered with these pins.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, that's great for Girl Scout vest, right? There's
Yes,
patches and there's reasons for them, and I support them. But let's try to get a little bit creative and don't. My thing is, I don't like wasting the company's money. And
exactly.
if you know what's going to happen, it does them no good to give away something that's just going to be a dustable. So, yep.
Exactly.
For sure. For sure.
So,
Awesome. See, and it's like, I love these spotlights too, because we get to hear a little bit more about you. And so when we run across businesses or we hear things, right, it's like, because I think a lot of us are in situations where we do hear about different businesses and we do hear about their challenges, right? And knowing more about what it is that you do and how you help, I think it just gives us more of an idea of like when we're out talking to people and we hear, we're like, hey, you know what? We know somebody that could maybe solve that problem for you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. It's all good. Got to share.
Yeah, and it's more than, I mean, I like the introductions, but it really is a deeper dive into what you do. And so, a lot of times we don't get that here,
Mm.
in your
No.
3 minutes of introduction. So,
Yay.
I don't know.
well, I will
All right.
do my little, I'm going to talk fast. So I've actually got a training. Hopefully you guys find it valuable. Let me share my screen. This is based off of sorry. Tech and me, not great friends. So bear with me for just 1 second.
That's all right. Tech and me are super great friends. So I'll help you out.
That
Well,
is my favorite enemy.
you
Oh,
know,
no way.
sometimes things get changed around.
Yeah.
Programs change things, and I'm just like, what? Okay, perfect. So this, I love sharing, and I'm going to move through this really fast. But I find that when it comes to businesses and our money, lots of things happen, lots of problems occur. We heard a lot actually from Heather last week, right, on some things that she notices. And one thing that she mentioned a couple of times was she doesn't like to have to tell businesses, you know, at the end of the year, like, hey, you owe this amount of money in taxes. And the business owner's like, well, how the hell am I going to pay those? Because I don't have the money to pay it. Right. Like, and I think if we're being honest, I think most of us have found ourselves in that situation, maybe not with taxes, but with something involved with money. And so I talk a lot about like putting a system in place for your money. And a system is different than the tools and support partners that we use. And so I want to go through, this is a method, part of a full financial system that I help my solopreneurs and small business clients implement. And when we implement this, what it does is it really creates a lot more clarity. And I'm really passionate about this because, I mean, looking at the statistics, like small businesses fail and the economy plays a part in that. But the real reason why businesses fail is due to cash flow. Now, cash flow is made up of several different components. It's not just one. And there's a lot of clever companies out there in their marketing that want you to believe that, hey, you are failing because you're not making enough revenue. That may be the case, but it may also not be the case. Cash flow is made up of several different components. And so, you know, when I'm looking at this and we look at these numbers, you know, in 5 years, the likelihood of at least two of us not being in business is there, right? And that's a scary thought. We didn't start businesses just to have to close them down because we don't understand cash flow, and we don't have the processes in place to keep our businesses going. So I like to help people build businesses that are financially healthy and that provide for both a business and our personal needs at the same time. So we really aren't taught about cash flow or how to manage revenue in a way that's responsible. Oftentimes the language out there is like, hey, sell more or hire someone so you can grow faster. You need a VA, right? And the people that are like, just make more money. Frankly, that's terrible freaking advice. And I'm sick of hearing it. When it really comes to the financial health of your business, you know, there's things that we can do that does not involve just making more money. Now, I'm all about making more money, but making more money doesn't help if we don't have a good system in place to utilize those funds. So when you do the same thing in your business that like so many other people in the industry are doing, chances are you're going to see the same results and it's not going to be favorable. So I really want you to stand out in your field. So I've created what I call the surviving to thriving method. And this system helps to reduce overwhelm. Many people are overwhelmed with money and they really don't know where to start. A lot of times we are taught we keep all of our money in one account. I'm going to talk more about that later on, but that actually creates a lot of overwhelm because it is impossible for our brains to look at a number in a bank account and go through everything that we have coming out, everything that we want to do, taxes that we're going to be paying in 6 months. Like we can't physically keep all of that information. And even if you keep it on a spreadsheet, our brains are not trained to look at a spreadsheet and our bank account balance and to separate the two. This system helps to organize your money. This strategy really allows you to have consistent actions and schedules with your money management, which a lot of businesses do not have. It hits like all the important parts. Good money management is more than just looking at your bank account balance. No more guessing when payments are going to be taken out or when you're able to pay for things, right? And no more guessing when you're going to be able to pay yourself. That's a big thing that I see with business owners. They're like, oh, well, I've got all these other businesses and there's nothing left for me to pay myself with. The system, it makes it easy. Money isn't hard. Oftentimes it just comes down to the processes that we already have in place that we haven't really broken it down into manageable parts. And we haven't created systems and process that works with our business. And I'm going to say arguably the most important is it moves you out of reactive phase with your money and into being more protection, proactive phase. So no longer will you need to look at your bank account balance as a dictator for your actions. You're going to have everything planned out ahead of time. So as you grow your business, guess what? Your expenses are going to grow too. And this is oftentimes an overlooked fact. For some of us, it may be like common sense, but honestly, for a lot of people, it isn't. And so that's why I share it. I am also really aware of the fact that we are supposed to know about money, but we're really not taught about money. And so when I talk about money, it's not, I don't want to say like I dumb it down, but I go through it all because I don't really know what other people do know and what they don't. And that's not for me to determine. And a lot of times people aren't going to say, hey, I don't know about this, Sarah. You know, you made an assumption that I did. So when we're going through all of this, please know you might be familiar with some of it and you might not. Either way, it's fine. But making more money, you know, and again, overlooking the fact that our expenses often grow when our revenue grows, that's why making more money isn't as helpful as we think it should be. Money's an amplifier. So how you feel about money, how you use money now is only going to be amplified when you make more. So if you've got a really great positive money mindset and you've got really great money habits and behaviors and systems with money, when you make more, those will continue. But if you've got scarcity mindset, if you are terrified to spend money, if you don't have a good money management system, when you make more, all of those things are going to carry over and it's going to compound all the overwhelm and the frustration. So this system also accounts for all the variables that life is going to throw your way. This is true in business and in personal life. So we've accounted for that. And again, this goes into the protection mode. This system also helps to prepare you for higher revenue months and lower revenue months, because we've all been there. We've all had really great months, and then we've all had months that are pretty low. And oftentimes what happens on the really great months, we tend to spend those dollars, and then the really low months come, and then we're like, now what do I do? Now I have to transfer money out of my personal accounts to cover. We want to try and prevent a lot of that stuff from happening. So what do I call like the must do's when it comes to business finances? I want you to have 6 different accounts for your business banking. And we're going to talk about those more on the next slides. If you don't already, please, 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 please keep your personal accounts separate from your business accounts. There is never a time that we want money to be commingled. It's messy. It's not organized. It's frustrating. It's overwhelming. But then you get into the legal side of that. If you do not have your business finances separated from your personal finances, things get legal real fast and you cause a lot of problems for yourself that are unnecessary. Quick side note, I never want you to pay for business checking accounts or business accounts. There are a lot of banks that have options for free business checking. There's no reason why you need to be paying for business checking. So if you want some ideas for accounts for free business checking, hit me up. I will send you some options. This system also allows you to pay yourself consistently. If you aren't currently and you want to start, you know, like even $5 a month consistently, it's about getting into the habit of it. I find that there's two ways that people go about paying themselves. They either don't, and they get really frustrated because they are reinvesting all that money back into the business, but then you're creating an unrealistic habit because you're not paying yourself consistently and you deserve to be paid out of your business. Or they're taking literally everything that's left over and they're not planning ahead for the expenses that are coming up the next month. So we want to create consistency and predictability. Knowing all of your numbers, the system really helps with that. Frankly, it's not your bookkeeper or your CPA's job to know, like they should know all of your numbers, but you as a business owner, it is your responsibility to know all of your numbers because you are the decision maker in your business. It is not your bookkeeper or your CPA's place to be making decisions for your business. This is about creating financial literacy and building literacy so you know what questions to ask of those people that you are working with. Again, I'm not knocking bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs, like I'm not knocking them. We need them in our lives, right? They are great support partners, but you are the decision maker. And I say this because I find a lot of times people avoid doing things with their money. And so they avoid it by hiring a bookkeeper or a CPA. And what oftentimes happens is, and this is shown in small and very large businesses, is, oh, hey, your taxes weren't done properly. Oh, you didn't pay enough. Oh, you didn't hold enough back. And ultimately, that is our responsibility as business owners to know. And so by building our literacy and building our education and knowledge, we then can be asking and keeping an eye on our support partners. So here's the six accounts that I want, that I always recommend that businesses have. And this does not matter the size of business. We make adjustments as businesses get bigger, but for most people, these are going to work really well. Think of these accounts as kind of like buckets or envelopes for your business. So, we're dividing it up, right? We're dividing your money up so you can see where it's going. It separates it in our head, and it really does allow us to use nature, like what we're naturally inclined to do, which is look at a bank account balance. And because we have these separated, our brains then can say, oh, in my profit account, I've got X amount of dollars. In my operating expenses, I've got X amount of dollars. You can separate because now you know how much is coming out, how much is going in, when you're paying bills, all of those things. So how much do you put into each account? These are going to vary. I put some generalization percentages in here. So as I go through each of these, please know that these are going to vary based on your situation and your business. I just put some numbers to kind of give you an idea. We really want our businesses to be profitable, right? And so by having all of these accounts, we are creating a system in which we can be profitable from day one, from right where you are today. So your first account, this is your income account. So all money received from your business, I want it to go into this one account. Everything that you get. Now, if you guys are familiar with the book and Mike Michalowicz, he wrote a book called Profit First. This is similar. I did take, because I think he's missed a couple of points in there. And so I've adjusted it a little bit. So this is my take on that. So if that's familiar to you, that's awesome. I'm not stealing it. I did change this a little bit because there are some things that I think were missed in that process. But so all income goes into this income account. Money is not held here. All of the money will be transferred out of this account into the other accounts, but this is where all money comes into. Next account is your profit account. These go in order for a reason. This is has to do with psychology and the way that our brains work. And it has to do with running a financially sustainable business. So pulling your profit out first from your business allows you to actually see profits within your business. So pull it out. Generally, I say 5 to 10% of total income goes into your profit account. Again, generalization. Next account is your owner's compensation and your payroll. This is to make sure that you're paying yourself. Generally, I say in between 20 and 50% of your income goes into this account. Again, those are generalizations, but we want to make sure that you are making a living off of your business, right? Payroll, I do encourage payroll to come out of here. Now, it does depend again on the size of your business and how your employees are listed. There's a couple of nuances, but I think for most of us, if you do have employees, this account will work really well for you during this time. Next is your peace of mind fund. Unexpected things happen all the time. So we want to create peace of mind within our business. This creates also, call it like a hills and valleys account. We're going to have higher revenue months and lower revenue months. So this peace of mind fund allows us to counteract that and make things more even keel. We are protecting our businesses. So peace of mind fund, I say in between 5 and 10% of total revenue should go into your peace of mind fund each month. Your operating expenses, this is what you need to run your business. You know, be mindful that this is where businesses bleed money a lot of times, right? And my surviving to thriving method, it really, again, this is a quick, I'm going through these like really, really fast, guys, but please know that how we determine your operating expenses, we want to stop the bleeds. And so I've got a full method on what is your surviving number, what's your current number, and then what's your thriving number. And so we break that all down in the full method, but this, just to give you an idea to start out, operating expenses, I say in between 20 and 50%. And taxes, this covers your payroll taxes, your estimated quarterlies. This also covers your bookkeeping and accounting services. So in general, I say in between 17 and 25%, again, depending on what type of business you have and where you're at, those percentages might fluctuate a little bit, but generally speaking, 17 to 25% is pretty accurate. So you're going to make transfers between all of these accounts, again, based on those percentages. And I say this is part of your system. You're setting aside 1 day or 2 days each month to make these transfers. Sometimes when we're just starting out, we need to do it maybe once a week because we've got money coming in and out and it's a new system. But ideally, you should be able to get on to twice a month where you're going into your income account, you're making transfers to each of these accounts, and you're only doing it twice a month. It's creating that predictability. It's creating consistency. You shouldn't have to look at your bank accounts every day. You shouldn't have to be worried about like, hey, do I have more money coming in because I need to pay this, right? So ideally, you know, twice a month, you're going to go into your income account and make transfers to these other accounts. Again, there is more involved. I'm going through this really fast because limited time. If you do nothing else with any of this information, I'd love for you to create 2 different accounts. I'd love for you to create a profit account, and I would love for you to create a peace of mind fund account. If you do nothing else with any of this, at least start those 2 and transfer at least some money into your profit account and at least some money into your peace of mind fund, right? Creating protection for your business, right? Guys, just due to time, I want to be respectful of your time. I'm not going to go through a ton more of this, but I want to say that part of this allows you to build traction in your business. It allows you to track your transactions and to automate. And so there's some different tools and everything that you can use when you're going through this system, but it's really about bringing awareness to how we are naturally inclined to look at money and how we can make adjustments within our money system to see our money differently and then build a really healthy, stable business. So that was a lot and I moved through really quick, but I hope you pick up something from it. But if nothing else, please open a profit account and a peace of mind fund account to start really protecting
The
your
whole
business.
thing absorbs into your face and all that's left is the rest. This one did. This one just hydrated. Or
Oh, I think that
Sarah, so you're talking about completely separate bank accounts covering each one of these things?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
it's like a picture like
We did that at one
Mhm.
point. Mike set up exactly just how you said it through the Profit First book.
I only had
And
one
we had,
spot
I thought it was
in the
crazy
ditch.
at
Everything
first
else
going to
was
the
great.
bank, setting up all these different accounts. But the peace of
It
mind,
come with like
knowing that the money was in the right place when you needed it was phenomenal. And it aligns also with Ramsey's envelope theory, right? If you know you have all you put the cash in the envelope. It's hard to do cash these days. No one wants to hold that cash. We have to have banks for online payments. So if you follow either one of them, and then the upgrades that you've made, Sarah, and the tweaks to it all, pulling it all together is fantastic.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's you know, I've worked with a lot of different
Oh, I'm
businesses
gonna
in
order
different
your
sizes,
contacts
and
today.
this really has shown
So
to
they will be mailed
it,
to you.
it
I don't know how it's
alleviates a
going.
lot of questioning for
Mhm.
businesses, right? And oftentimes we get to the end of the year and our CPA's
You
like,
just have to use
you
your
know,
own
hey,
one.
look at your P&L. You made $100,000 in
Make sure
profit
you
this
pack
year.
them
And we're looking
first
around like,
in
where
the
the F
suitcase
is that
pocket.
money? Like, where's $100,000? How did
And
I
and
didn't
then
make
make sure you put an
$100,000 in
extra
profit?
packet in
This
your
actually,
purse that
and
you're
there's so
carrying,
many things that we do with
backpack.
that profit account. I get asked a lot, like, well, what do you do with the profit? Like, there's so many things that we do with that account. There's
Sometimes you pass
there's
through.
a lot involved, but thank you, Ruth, for saying that. I think that it really does help us separate the money in a way that brings us truth
Did your
to
camera
mind
work?
businesses.
Yeah, and then you do very specific things with each account, which is
Also, you know those little like shelves that are in your
Yeah.
Yeah,
bathroom?
and it
The ones that got for your bathtub?
again, I think when we've got higher revenue months, you know, by those
So I'm gonna bring
percentages,
those to
we
you.
know
You either put 'em up in
that
your
we're
other
protecting
bathroom or,
ourselves,
know.
right? We're padding those accounts,
I also got this thing you can
you
put
know,
in
and
your
then when we're
bathtub
paying
that you can-
ourselves, we're creating a consistency and
so we can scrub
predictability,
your
knowing that
pants.
you can go. Oftentimes, you know, there
I'm
was a
probably gonna put it
period
in
of
your
time
spare
last year
bathroom.
that I went 6 months without signing a new client.
And then if you like it,
Mm.
you can
That
put it- it covers
sucks.
the bottom.
But also, I was still able to pay myself the
Well,
same amount every month because I had consistency and predictability, and I
make
had
sure your
protected
camera's
my
all
business,
working.
which then protected my personal, right? So we could still live. We still had money. Then
I'll
I
let
could
you know
pay
when it
myself,
gets close to being
even
delivered,
though the
okay?
business wasn't growing. So it's vital, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think if you can get them in the beginning as they're first starting up for I think that's crucial. I think, you know, like if you're working with a company that's just starting out, how do we do this, blah, 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 and you can get this process in place. I mean, if we had this 13 years ago, different, you know, would have been a whole new game changer from the very beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The earlier we can start these things, the better. But I also have worked with businesses that have been in business for a while. And once we implemented this, their business started to change, right? That they really started to see
Right.
they were
Yeah.
actually needing money, right? And because we get set in our ways, you know, on our CPAs.
Yep.
And truth be told, I have worked with a lot of bookkeepers, folks, to implement this system in their own businesses. And
Yeah.
that's why I say, like, there's a lot of businesses that are really great at data entry, but they're not here to help build your business. And so that's why I'm always cautious is that we have the information so we are better informed when we're hiring. If you want to hire somebody to just input information, great, but know the difference. Because I've worked with a lot of bookkeepers that are not building, they don't have good money management habits. They're really good at putting numbers into QuickBooks, but they really aren't good at making good financial decisions. And there's a difference. If you're paying somebody to do that in your business, you want to know the expectations need to be the same, right? So
And a lot of financial planners have terrible habits. I mean, I know a lot of them. One in particular, very, very famous, and he admitted that you know, he started making a lot of money, financial planning, and then next thing he's wondering, why do I have nothing? I mean, I'm teaching people how to build wealth, and yet here I am with nothing in my pocket. So it really forced him to self-analyze and change that all around. But it's amazing how many people it happens to,
yeah.
especially in bookkeeping and
Yeah.
accounting, and they become a mess. It's
Yeah.
like the cobbler. It's like the cobbler whose kids have no shoes. You know, we ignore ourselves, but yet
Yep.
we go, geez, why is everything going wrong? I don't understand. I didn't do
Well,
anything.
you focus you focus on everybody else and forget to focus on yourself.
Mhm.
Well, and a lot
You
of
know,
times we're bad at focusing on ourselves,
well, yeah.
which is the other
Well,
thing. I mean, just
it's
general
easy. It's easier to reflect out than it is
somebody
to
else.
reflect in.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing is taking that honest, hard look at yourself and saying, damn, I'm screwing up. It's not in our nature.
No.
Right. Right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for allowing me to move
Okay.
through that really fast.
That's good information though. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. If we had a little bit more time, or if you know, this isn't a pitch, this is if you want more information, I'm happy to go through the full thing with anybody if you're interested.